Hey y'all, I'm Carlina Davis of Spilling the Sweet Tea. Welcome to my channel. And today we're making baked macaroni and cheese. So this holiday season, if your family is turning over the apron to you and you're in charge of the baked mac and cheese, baby, I got you covered. Make sure you follow me and make my recipe. The first thing you want to do is boil your noodles. So I'm going to boil a whole box of the Mueller's elbows. This is a 16-ounce box. So I'm just going to use my pot and add some water in. So you just want to use some salt and heavily salt your water. So our water is boiling. You want to add your elbows now. I'm only going to cook mine. It says 9 to 10 minutes. I'm going to do 10. Okay, I'm going to do in between. I'm going to do 10. Because you don't want these noodles to be overcooked. You want them to be al dente. Because you need to bake them for another 25 minutes with the cheese mixture. So you just want to pour in your elbows. Give it a stir so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Do not put any oil in your water because your cheese mixture will slide right off the noodles. While your noodles are boiling, very important, you want to make sure you shred your own cheese, period. Do not bring baked mac and cheese to my house with pre-shredded mac and cheese. It ain't gonna taste as good unless you shred the cheese yourself. I said what I said. I don't use a 5 cheese blend. I use a medium or mild and a sharp. The Carolina girl in me is always gonna have to put hoop cheese in her macaroni and cheese. Hoop cheese is just a Southern style mild cheddar cheese. But the consistency of this cheese and the way it melts, bar none. I found this at Food Lion. You can find it at Piggly Wiggly, IGA, Winn-Dixie. Any of your country grocery stores is gonna have some hoop cheese. If you can't find hoop cheese, just double the amount of mild or sharp cheese, or sometimes I've even used Gouda cheese, right? Just if you want a smoky flavor. For this hoop cheese, you have to remove this red rind. It's just wax, but you have to remove this before you shred it. I'm gonna cut this cheese down just so it fits in my cheese grater. Cut it in half. I didn't have to do it in thirds. So it fits. Okay. Our noodles are ready. They are nice and al dente. Okay. Now you want to drain them. All you want to do is put your colander. I just got this cute one from Walmart. I think it's Better Home and Garden. Put it in your sink. And you just want to drain your elbows. We all have one of these in our home. I don't use mine anymore because, baby, my knuckles have not recovered. And if you're making mac and cheese for a large amount of people, you're gonna be doing this all day, grating cheese with this hand grater. Baby, throw this out and get you one of these rotary graters. It comes with all of these different attachments. I'm using this one for shredding cheese, but baby, you can slice vegetables, you can grate Parmesan, you can do a lot of different things with the blades. But all you do is just pop on the blade you want. Just want to pop her in and then add the handle. And you're ready to grate. I like it because you can put a bowl right under it, right? Easy peasy. And then it adheres to your countertop. It don't move. She ain't going nowhere, okay? And you can slide your bowl right under it and shred your cheese. Easy peasy. I'm going to shred up my medium and cheddar cheese, and then I'll do my hoop in a separate bowl because I like my hoop cheese to be on top and then a little hoop cheese in my cheese mixture. So look how easy peasy this is. And do you see how beautiful this shredded cheese is? There's no white substance on it. When you get cheese that's already pre-shredded, they put a white powdery substance on it to preserve it. You don't want that in your mac and cheese. So shred your cheese yourself. It's just an extra step. It comes with this little food pusher, so you can push the cheese down when you get down to the end. All right, so I got a separate bowl just so I can know which is my hoop. You can put two blocks in there. The grater can handle it. Look, fall right in the bowl. You don't have a mess. When you are grating cheese by hand, cheese be everywhere. It falls right in the bowl. So your noodles have cooked. Now it's time to make your cheese sauce. Now my baked mac and cheese recipe is in my cookbook, Memories on a Plate, Southern Recipes I learned from my mama. It's in my It Ain't Southern Without Something on the Sides chapter. You're gonna need cornstarch. I don't use flour. Most people do. I do not. You need 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. And you want to measure it, not heaping tablespoons. Okay, I always just use the lid to make sure I have the right amount. You want to add in 2 teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. 2 teaspoons of salt. And you need half a teaspoon of pepper. Get ground pepper. You don't want chunks of like freshly cracked pepper. I like using freshly cracked pepper, but only for meat, not for mac and cheese. If you don't want to see the specks of pepper in your mac and cheese, you can use white pepper, but I don't mind a little black in my mac and cheese. I always whisk a little bit of my milk in before I add the entire 5 cups, okay? Let me get a whisk. Okay. So, I'm not using heavy cream. I'm not using carnation milk. It's just whole milk. This is a very easy, simple mac and cheese recipe. Eggs are for cakes. Eggs do not go in my mac and cheese. If you like eggs in your mac and cheese, then that's cool, but my version doesn't include eggs. And eggs is so high, baby. You might want to follow this recipe anyway. Eggs is $1 million nowadays. So I'm going to start with 2 cups, and I'm not going to add all 2 cups in right now. Just going to add a little bit. You want to make sure you just add a little bit of milk. Move the pot around so you can get that cornstarch that wants to hold on to the sides for dear life. So I'm going to add in the rest of these 2 cups. And I just need 3 more cups. Now you want to add in your 4 tablespoons of butter. I did not put paprika in here, chicken bouillon, garlic powder, onion powder. I just use salt and pepper. That's it. This is not chicken. It's mac and cheese. You can't sit down and cook. You're going to have to stand over this pot and whisk this milk so it doesn't clump up and it doesn't burn. See how that butter is almost melted out? But you don't want this to stick at the bottom, so you have to whisk it really well. You want to have this bubble up until it hits about this line, because you want your cheese sauce to be nice and thick. Our cheese sauce is where it needs to be. Remove it from the heat before you add the cheese. So now you just want to add in your sharp and medium cheddar cheese into your cheese sauce. Like I said, save the bulk of it for the top. But that hoop cheese is nice in this mac and cheese. Has a nice flavor. You want to stir your cheese so it doesn't clump up, and then we'll add the rest. The cheese is cheesing. So now all you want to do is add your noodles to your cheese sauce. That's it. I'm just going to add in my noodles that have been drained into my cheese sauce. Not going to add all of them yet. Stir it around, see what we're working with. So this is the baking dish I'm using to bake my mac and cheese in. This is the Beautiful by Drew baking tray. I love that it comes with a lid because I can just pop the lid on and heat it up again if I needed to, reheat it. Or cover it if I want to sit it in the refrigerator. So it's perfect. So all you want to do is get like a pat of butter, like a tablespoon of butter that's softened. And you want to grease your pan. I'm going to use my, put on a food safe glove. You want to grease all sides really well with that butter. Add in your noodles and cheese sauce. It's giving save me a plate. And when you see how this cheese, hoop cheese, melts on top, you're going to be hoping you can find you some in the grocery store. Nice thin layer. Don't, you know, overdo it. Because hoop cheese can be kind of greasy, so you don't want it to be too greasy. Just a nice layer of hoop cheese on top. And if you're from Eastern North Carolina, particularly Kinston, and you go get a cheddar bow biscuit, you know they use hoop cheese in their cheddar bow biscuits. This hoop cheese is going to set your mac and cheese off. So it's ready to go into the oven, 375 degrees for about 25 minutes. When it's brown and bubbly, you're ready to eat. You're ready to chop, as my daddy would say. Mac and cheese going in. 325 for 25 minutes. The mac is macking. All right, y'all. It's out the oven. This is my Southern baked mac and cheese without the eggs. When I tell you this is so good, I used hoop cheese, as I mentioned. And y'all already know, if you're getting this recipe from Spilling the Sweet Tea, this is gonna be your go-to mac and cheese recipe. Baby, now that the apron has been passed down to you, they're gonna be asking you to make the mac and cheese from now on. And this mac and cheese is definitely Spilling the Sweet Tea approved.